Welcome to this edition of the Tiger Basketball Report. I'm your host, Spiro Marikas, along with the head coach of the Tigers, Pat Scarry. And coach, a very, very productive road trip for the Tigers. Last Thursday night, you go up to Amherst. You beat UMass. First time the Tigers have beaten them in 3 tries, 67-55. Turnaround Sunday in Philadelphia at the world-famous Palestra with a big win over Penn. So the Tigers go 2-0 on the road trip, now 3-0 to start. And I would say you haven't played a great game yet.
Yeah, I mean,
you played well, but I don't think you played a great game.
We're still a work in progress. I mean, like I told our guys, we got a lot of guys like after the Penn game, like, oh, we got to do this better, that, and that's good that they want to be really good and perfectionists. But we're trying to get better. We also want to enjoy wins and moments, and it's that balance. We look at everyone's got high expectations. We have high expectations, but we still got things we got to clean up. And I also, like I told you in the radio, it's also we've played some good teams too. It's a little bit disrespectful to not think that the other team is going to be well coached and competitive and have a game plan. So we're fortunate to be 3-0 and just hoping we can kind of keep the train on the tracks.
Well, Nick Timberlake had a rough first night against Albany, 1 for 10 from the field. He bounced back with a vengeance on Thursday night with a career-high 27, followed that up with 23 against Penn. But another guy who doesn't get a lot of publicity, who played great for you, was Chris BQ.
Tremendous. Really proud of Chris. He works really hard. I mean, his body looks great. He was a monster against UMass in the first half.
Big lift in the first half.
Yeah, and then gave us really good minutes against Penn, including a big jump hook. I mean, Nick, the last couple games was the best player on the floor, and it was playing at an elite level. We need that to continue. But Chris, like I said, when Charles got some foul trouble, he has stepped right in, and we're still trying to get Chase Parr back into great shape, and after having been out for a while with a couple injuries. So for Chris to step in like that, he's gained a lot of trust. I'm really proud of him, happy for him.
UMass, it was a team that's got, 7 Power 5 transfers on their team, a coach who's been to the Final Four in Frank Martin. And, I mean, you took it to them early, and I'm not going to say that you broke their spirit, but they never really got into any kind of a flow, and I think it was because you played such a tremendous game defensively.
I thought our defense was good, our rebounding was good, have to be against their talent, their physicality, how hard they play, how well they're coached. It was a good win for us. Our guys were excited to go up there and play against UMass. For guys like Nick and I, that's the flagship institution in our state. There's a lot of tradition and history there, and the Mullins Center has been a lot of big games, so we're excited to be part of that. Thought we got good publicity for our program on the trip and our university. It's good when it's hard to get road wins. There's no better feeling in sports than getting a road win, but they're really hard to get.
Well, the Penn game was a little different because you built up a 19-point lead, and then slowly Penn started coming back. And the one thing that I was looking at halftime that was kind of troubling was that Jordan Dingle had not scored. And like you said in the pregame, he's an NBA prospect.
Yeah, he's really
talented. At some point, he's going to start getting his, and he did in the second half.
So going back and watching it, we were up 21 with like 10 and a half to go. And I thought played really good basketball against a good team. And Steve Donahue's, terrific coach. He's had coach in the ACC, Sweet 16. At Cornell, and then we had a bad 2 minutes. It was like a 9-0 run, and we steadied decent. Like I said, they Dingle got loose, but we steadied decently. We were up 12 with 2 to go, and then Mr. Front End, Mr. Back End. They made a couple threes, so we've got some late game execution to clean up. But once again, Penn was picked first in the Ivy League for a reason. So at some point, especially in their barn. Right. They're going to make a little bit of a move on you.
Well, and now this week, UNC Greensboro on Thursday night, a team that over the last 5-6 years has been as good as just about any mid-major in the country. You're going to have to go down to their place, back on the road again, a place that Towson hasn't been in a long, long time. What do you see when you look at Greensboro?
Well, I mean, a lot of respect for Mike Jones. He's a good coach, and they're going to be right at the top of the Southern Conference, them and Furman. And what I see from Greensboro is great defense, great speed in the backcourt, strong, deep size. So they really guard you. They execute well on offense. You know, they run their stuff. It's going to be a hard game. I mean, I thought they outplayed Miami for 30, 32 minutes, and Miami's a top 20 team. And they have time to get ready for us. We're going to have to really take care of the ball, make some shots, but then your defense has to travel, has to be really good. It's going to be a high level game. We schedule high level games. As I remember doing this, and it's going to be good for us. Now now you're playing these games, and you're like, oh man, we got these guys. I mean, it's a big challenge.
But I guess the one good thing is you do have a couple of days. It's not like the Thursday to Sunday that you just had with UMass and Penn that you got another one 2 days later. You do have an extra day or two.
Yeah, no, we came back, took a day off, and back to work. Tuesday, Wednesday, getting ready for a big game at the Greensboro Coliseum. So that's an exciting venue where they've had a lot of ACC tournaments there.
Roddy Hicks yesterday, I thought played very well defensively.
He was terrific. It was really good to see him bounce back. He was playing really well in our first few weeks of practice. Then he got a concussion, was out for a little over 2 weeks. And I think this took a little bit of time. I think that'll be big for his confidence. Made foul shots, was really good defensively. A couple big plays, had some poise and swagger. And I have a lot of confidence and trust in him. So I want him to play with confidence. And I thought he really delivered for us yesterday.
And then, Cam's Cam, he just fills up all the categories on the score sheet.
Yeah, he's competitive. You need him. He sells popcorn. He helps navigate with the GPS. He does a little bit of everything for you. He's so invaluable.
When you look ahead now,
valuable, not invaluable.
Right,
valuable.
Yes, valuable. And non-conference is a little different than conference play because you have some familiarity with the teams in your conference. Here, you're going to play Greensboro, who you played last year, then Coppin, who you've been playing the last few years. Then you'll head to the tournament in Savannah against 3 schools that Towson hasn't played in a long, long time. How do these games help you get ready for games against opponents that you haven't played?
Yeah, good question. I don't know if we know that answer yet. We haven't dug in a lot on those teams in Savannah, but obviously playing 3 games in 3 days, the preparation for that is to help get you ready for what you hope is going to be a successful conference tournament run and what that's like. But the way we are, everything is into Greensboro, and what's going to give us the best chance to put together a good game plan, have a chance to be in the ball game.
All right, before we go, now this is not basketball, it's football, but I thought it's something you needed to hear.
Okay.
Remember the great Earl Campbell?
Oh, Houston Oilers.
Well,
remember him?
They're in training camp, and Earl Campbell's having a tough time finishing his mile run.
Oof.
So one of the reporters says to Bum Phillips after practice, I noticed that Earl was having trouble with that mile run. Does that bother you? He goes, well, if it's third and mile, I ain't giving him the ball.
What do you get when you cross a kangaroo and a calendar?
Callaroo?
A leap year.
That will do it for this edition of the Tiger Basketball Report. For the head coach of the Tigers, Pat Scarry, I'm Spiro Marikas. We'll talk to you Thursday night from Greensboro.